there's the singer, she was on stage, she came off the stage. She came straight towards me and she grabbed me and she said, "You're gonna have this little dance with me." I'm like, oh my God, like I like to be an extrovert, but internally I'm actually an introvert. So I always have this battle in my head. And at the end of it, she said, "It's just your dress." She said, "I saw your dress, I saw you, and I wanted to come straight forward."
Welcome to Off the Hanger, the fashion podcast where we delve deep into our guests' wardrobes, finding out their favourite fashion pieces and the stories behind them. This week's guest is the gorgeous Rahila Ahmed, who is the owner and founder of beautiful brand Rialine. We talk all about her brand. We talk a lot about covering up a bit more when you're dressing, her most fabulous favourite shoes, and of course, a spectacular wardrobe malfunction. I hope you enjoy this episode. Good morning, Rahila. Thank you for joining us on Off the Hanger. It's very, very lovely to have you here, looking gorgeous and radiant in orange this morning.
There's a reason for that.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear it. I cannot wait to hear the story. First, before we jump into your wardrobe, I would like to know more about your brand because, your Instagram is just filled with the most beautiful pieces, but they're more than just fashion. There's a lot of thought gone into this, hasn't there?
Yeah, really. So I think I've just entered my third year of my brand. It's not been easy. I'll just say it from the get-go. I'm still in the process of building the brand, which can take years. But my brand was born out of the fact of, so I'm one of 4 sisters. I now have a daughter, and obviously we are Muslim. But I don't want that to be the defining sort of explanation of why the brand came about, or why, but it does have, some roots to it. So we like to dress modestly and fashionably. And so when I go to the shops, just like everybody else, I want to wear what's in trend. I want to wear, the new color or the new dress. But what we always found was there was things like the neck was too low, or the hem was too short, or there was no sleeves, or it was transparent. And in order to make this sort of fashion that everybody else was wearing work for us, we had to sort of use our skills that have been adopted for years in sort of getting maybe some matching undergarments to wear to make it not transparent enough, or getting my mum to sew like some splits up, or getting material and getting somebody else to sew up like some sleeves, or making them. It's just like a skill. And the thing is, it still happens, and we've normalized it so much. So growing up, that's the way it was. And then I had my daughter who's just turned 15. And she's going through the same sort of stuff that I went through, 30 years ago. And I'm like, why is this still going on? Like, she wants to look as cool as all her friends. She wants to wear what her friends are wearing. And so we always have to go and sort of improvise some of the stuff that she's seeing so she can look just as to fit in and just to look cool. And I just thought, why are we still doing this? I'm lucky enough to go on nice holidays and stuff. We often go away for Christmas and New Year. So I'm always looking for like a New Year's Eve gala dress. I like to look statement just like everyone else, and the modest clothes that I came across with, it's just like, they weren't exciting enough, right? And they just weren't glamorous enough for me to wear. And modest fashion has come a long way. Don't get me wrong. There's some brands out there, and I actually love what they're doing. Okay, but the interpretation of modest fashion takes away from it being cool and in trend, and becomes almost like a religious thing. And then that could be putting off for some people or for the younger generation. So there's this big grey area in the middle. People like me, or the younger women especially, that are finding ways to be cool, fashionable, in trend, but don't want to show too much of their skin. So I thought, now's the time to just bring out some products or some dresses that are cool, that are fashionable, that basically are asking for the girls, I want to pose, I want to take these pictures, I want to post them on my socials, and just not be ashamed that they're not having to, show any skin or any cleavage or any leg. And it is possible. Just yesterday, I was in the shop with my daughter, and she saw this this dress, like other boho stuff's coming because of Coachella and things. And she's like, Mommy, I wish I could wear that. That's what all the girls are wearing. And I said, right, you can. Her name's Mimi. I said, you can. You just have to pair it with like a cap t-shirt or something underneath. It will cover all this cleavage stuff up. And she was, what am I supposed to wear it with? I said, you can wear it on top of trousers and you will look just, will it look all right? Because that's not the way everyone else is wearing it. And I was like, yeah, it will look all right. So it's just really hard to, still show that there is a way of doing it. But also, Emma, to this day, it's hard to find modest, cool clothes out there. It really is. It takes months, weeks of research, before I go away for my holidays, like finding a dress that doesn't reveal too much and I can still feel fashionable and in trend. It's come a long way, but there's still like big holes in there. So Rialine was born, and the name is about to realign sort of it's like the bridge between modest and mainstream fashion. And it's where a lot of people, women, young girls live in the real world. We're just going around mixing and matching clothes, looking for items that weren't showing so much just to build our own outfit and style. There's a lot more thought behind it than somebody else that can just go out shopping and pick a dress for a special occasion. It's not as easy as that for us.
And
Is that long-winded?
no, it's not long-winded at all. I do think it really covers it, but I think there's also other areas that people assume aren't to do with modest fashion, but actually are. So for me, I'm super pale. If I go anywhere hot, I need to be covered up. Because
Right.
for me, I can't be out in the sun. Even if I'm covered in sun cream, there will always be that one little sliver of my skin that I've forgotten that will just burn to a crisp. And I want to be covered, but I still want to look great and I still want to wear things that I feel fabulous in.
But would you then shop at modest fashion brands?
Well, this is the thing. I think it's because of the way that they're marketed. Often it is that idea of, oh, well, that's a modest fashion brand. That isn't for me. Is that cultural appropriation if I start wearing it? And then actually, my husband's a photographer. And for a few years, he used to shoot a lot of ad campaigns for a modest fashion brand. And he would send me little pictures from the shoot going, oh my God, you'd love this. And all of these dresses were incredible. And I was like, oh my God, find out how much that one is. How much is that one? This is beautiful, because they are just entirely my style. But the marketing of them was very much aimed at, well, this is modest fashion only. This isn't for you. And I think there has to be that real crossover of going, actually, no, it is for everybody. It might just be a safety concern. How often do we hear these kind of stories of women being attacked because of, men basically can't control themselves? But then the question is always, what were they wearing? Well, I don't think that should be a question.
Yeah.
You should never be asked what you were wearing. But I do think there's certain women in certain circumstances who have taken to dressing slightly more modestly because they have that concern and that fear for their safety and how other people are going to react about their clothes.
Yeah, that's actually been in the socials and news quite a lot ever since the Me Too movement. And I've been seeing a lot of like on the gram things, and even my daughter was showing on TikTok about how to dress not for the male gaze. And there was so much this big discussion about women. You've got celebrities like, is it Emily Ratajkowski?
Yes, yeah.
Who basically empower dressing however they want to, like near naked sort of outfits or naked, and say it's up to me to dress the way I want, and if you can't deal with it, that's your problem. And then you've got on the opposite end people like me or even like yourself that feel comfortable in more covered looks. Does that mean that we dress modestly? I think it does, but you're right, the way they've marketed it, they've made modest fashion sort of not approachable for a big group of women that are just living their lives just because they want, a bit more coverage. Even I've had some, stepfather, that's too bright, it's not modest. And it's like, for me, I grew up, as long as we weren't showing too much skin, it's it doesn't matter what color it is. I love bright colors, I love sparkly stuff. I love, if I go out, I want to wear something statement. I want to wear something that's going to look great in pictures that I can post. And it's not easy to find outfits like that because most of those outfits are revealing still.
And did you always love fashion as a child? Is this something that stemmed from your childhood?
So I grew up actually around fabric. My parents, they had a fabric shop for years, and I didn't even think anything of it until now I've started this brand. I think something inside it's always sort of been there. So it's always been around fabric. I did really well at textiles for my GCSE. I think that was my highest. But I actually went on to do accountancy and finance at university. I think in that generation, and I went to uni a long time ago. It's like you had to do something worthwhile at university for parents to sort of say, yeah, yeah, you can, go to university, we can spend that money and you're doing a worthwhile course. I now looking back should have obviously done something in fashion, textiles, or fashion marketing. I think that would have been my area. But no, I went on to the accountancy finance, but it's helped me a lot in building my own brand now, like the whole business side of it, the tech side of it, the finance side of it, the marketing side of it, because I went on to do my SEMA qualification. And that has helped me a lot. So I can't regret that too much. But yeah, I think I should have done something a bit more creative.
But I do think that's really good though, because so many people who have startups and who have smaller brands really
Yeah.
struggle with that side of it.
Yeah.
Because the creative side is something that, quite often just comes naturally to people. But the actual finance and tech side and the business side of it isn't something that comes naturally. I think it's something that's taught. And the fact that you already had all of that background must really help.
Yeah, it did. There's a lot involved in having your own brand, and you get pushed in situations that you might not even feel comfortable with. So, and all those old school skills, something small that you might have done years ago, suddenly come alive, and you're actually using those skills. I used to live in spreadsheets, and now I happily do spreadsheets as part of my brand. And then, I used to hate them, but now I'm doing them. And we did marketing, and even with all the tech stuff that we've got going on. I'm not saying I'm the most techie, but I'm not afraid of it. And that's because of my education and stuff. You sit there and you manage to work it out. So, yeah, I think education, you just have to have it. And you're right, there's so many books and courses now that fashion designers that have done creative degrees sort of they do their designs, they do their fashion, and then they're missing out on the business side of it, and then they're having to do some other course or research on how to build a brand. So never underestimate anything you've ever learned.
Such a good tip. Now, diving deep back into your wardrobe, what is the oldest thing you've got in there?
Yeah, so you asked me this question, and I think I've been married in our 21st year this year. So I think the oldest thing I've got are my wedding shoes. And I do have them here. And there's, oh my God, I love these shoes. I want to give them to my daughter when she gets married, if she'll have them. These are Louis Vuitton.
Beautiful.
Sort of, I think it's got like a ballerina round toe, and it's about just 3 or 3 and a bit inch heel. And I've only ever worn them on my wedding day underneath my wedding dress. Look. So this has probably been the oldest thing I've kept in my wardrobe. I now have my daughter asking for all the vintage, she calls it vintage, all the stuff that I used to wear at uni, the bootleg jeans and things are all coming back, the 90s fashion. And she's having a go at me for throwing it all away. Well, how was I supposed to know that I had a daughter and that she would want the same things that I wore back at uni? So, these are the oldest thing I think I've got in my wardrobe.
Oh, they're fabulous. I love the story behind those. And I do think that's right about kind of hanging on to things in your wardrobe. Like hindsight is a brilliant thing, but so many of us just clear things out. I've got a son, so he's not too fussed about my wardrobe, but I'm bothered about my mother's wardrobe, who did not keep anything. There was so many
You
pictures of
are.
her in incredible things. And I remember being a really small child going through her wardrobe and her having all of these really fabulous, like sequin 80s dresses. And
Wow.
they've all gone. All gone.
Wow. And would you have liked to have kept them and like seen them, and
Yeah,
what would you have worn them?
definitely. There's definite pieces in there that I've seen pictures of her in. I've mentioned it before on the podcast that there was a 3-piece suit. There's a photo of her in this pale blue, incredibly tailored 3-piece suit, wide leg flares, waistcoat, the full works. And I'm like, where, mother? Where is this suit?
Yeah. That's what my daughter does to me now, and I feel so bad, especially she says, I said, we'll go out and buy the boot. She goes, no, but they were vintage, the ones that you had, so they were real.
The
And I'm like, well,
originals.
they were originals, that I don't have them anymore. And I'm not a hoarder, so as I do what you do, I clear out, every so often. But what I've learned recently is I'm not going to do that with specific items, because you never know they always do a full circle and they come back again, and I'm going to keep them, you know.
I think that's a good idea. Now, what is the piece in your wardrobe that gets the most compliments?
So, oh my shit, I didn't bring them ones. I'm not trying to be biased, but it's two dresses from my own line, and it's because they're tried and tested. And I've even, whenever I see someone else wear them, or if you've done a model shoot and the models wear them, and then their faces literally explode in smiles, and as for me as the designer, it just makes me sort of melt inside, because that's exactly how I wanted these girls to feel when they were wearing those dresses. They're super sparkly. So the first one is my Rania rhinestone dress, which I designed about over a year ago, but it's still sort of one of the best ones, and the girls just love them. I actually designed it for my birthday, which is in November. And again, I wanted something sparkly as a birthday outfit. And I thought, I'm fed up. I'm not going to go out and see something like the kind of birthday outfit that I want to go out in, which is going to be too revealing. So I ended up designing my own. It's full of rhinestones, top to bottom. It's got long sleeves that just cover. So you get rhinestones all on here. They're sort of iridescent. So it reflects the light. Whatever light you're in, it'll just shine right back. And I made it with a longer length slip dress, because, Emma, if I Google now a slip dress, I'm going to get one probably knee length.
Yeah.
Or it's still going to have like a low neck, which isn't enough of a slip dress for me to wear anything transparent. So I made it with a slip dress that goes right down to the ankles, with a higher neck and coverage on the shoulders. Now, for me, that would give me enough coverage to wear underneath this transparent, fully rhinestone dress. And every time I wear it, there's gasps. There's like that. And I just feel so sort of proud. One, obviously something that I've designed, but two, that's exactly what I want to look like on my birthday.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
the birthday outfit that I want. I want people to sort of look, you know, that's her birthday, and she looks amazing for it. So yeah, it's just a party outfit. The second one, which is what I designed last year, is, you know how the metallic gold and everything has been around, and it's still big for this year. So I thought, all right, I love gold. My house is mostly gold. And I designed this metallic gold dress in sort of a subtle fishtail design. Again, high neck, long sleeve. It sounds pretty simple, but for people like me that prefer coverage, it's all about fabric, because we can't experiment sometimes too much without showing too much. So our designs always have to be more on the covered side. So fabric plays an important role in trying to be a bit more statement, right? So I wore this. I designed it specifically for New Year's. Let's just put it out there. And I wore it to New Year's Eve, the one that's just gone. And we were in the middle of the Maldives this New Year's, and everybody was there. And then there's the singer. She was on stage. She came off the stage. She came straight towards me and she grabbed me and she said, "You're going to have this little dance with me." And I'm like, oh my God, like I like to be an extrovert, but internally I'm actually an introvert. So I always have this battle in my head. And at the end of it, she said, "It's just your dress." She said, "I saw your dress, I saw you, and, you know, I wanted to come straight for you." And the reason why I've said Maldives, I was in the middle of an island where women were wearing bikinis with big skirts and like more of a sheer dress because it's hot and you're on an island. And here I was wearing something completely covered up. And yet I had women coming up to me. I had little girls coming up to me to touch my dress, and they were like in awe, like young girls, like 6, 7-year-olds wanted to come and sit with me. And the singer came off stage, and I thought, this is what it is missing. Here I am, somebody who's not showing any skin, and is literally like the girl of the night, which is what the woman of the night, which is what I want these women to feel. Just because you're covered, it doesn't mean you've got to hide or blend in or not be at the forefront. Like, you're that it person, and you deserve a place on that table with everybody else. And yeah, So yeah, that's
Ah,
the story of those two dresses. Like I said, tried and tested.
fabulous. And I think if you think about brands, I know they're no longer with us, the Vampire's Wife, but I love the Vampire's Wife. It's that same thing. It's a high neck, it's a long sleeve, it's a full skirt, it's drama, but it's bringing that through the fabric and the shape and the design rather
Yeah,
than it being, well, here you go, let's make it super short, or let's make it super low, or backless,
or a big
or,
split.
exactly. And whilst, I think there are places like that for people to have in their wardrobe, that's fine if that's their style. I am somebody who tends to be more covered up. And I just think it's nice to have those options and to have those really wow pieces that you feel fabulous in without being conscious of, oh, have I got too much on show? Or can I bend over in this?
But
Because,
you know what? If we go deeper, there's so many women and culturally or their backgrounds that are sometimes at a crossroads when we want to look fashionable and we'll end up wearing something that doesn't quite align with our inner needs or feelings. And I've been there, and you end up wearing it just because you want to be fashionable and stuff, and then you'll take pictures and you just didn't feel happy inside because you were giving away a bit too much than what you were really comfortable with. And I hate that feeling, but when it's, you'll have people cropping their photos because they don't want to show the fact that they had to do that and things, and I don't see why we have to. So it just feels, when you feel freedom in an outfit that doesn't show too much, that's just in line with your needs, and you feel fashionable and confident, that is another feeling. That's the kind of feeling that I feel all women should feel when they're going out and things. I was on holiday recently, and I was speaking to a woman, and she does a lot of photography and things, and she said to me she often feels that she has to wear a bikini just to feel attractive, but she doesn't like wearing a bikini. And so many women have said things like this to me, that they often feel like they have to wear something to feel attractive. And I just feel like, why? And the back of that, I designed Ria Swim, which is my new collection at the moment, which is why I'm wearing orange, because orange is for me the color of the season. And actually, I've got it here. I designed a bright orange swimsuit made literally for taking pics on glamorous holidays. It's got some embellishments on the collar, and you do feel attractive in it, and you do get people sort of staring at you and like looking just as cool as somebody who's wearing the hottest bikini on the beach. So I do feel there's this area where people are being pushed to wear something even when they don't want to, and that's something that I want to change, and something I'm teaching my daughter as well. Don't do something that you're not happy with. There's always a solution.
And I think it's not necessarily just about the level of skin that's on show. I think that that's actually an overarching theme that we should be embracing in its entirety of, don't wear things that make you feel uncomfortable. If you love a really cute mini skirt with a big sloppy knit and a pair of boots and that's your vibe and you feel comfortable,
Yeah,
absolutely wear that thing. And if a pair
yeah,
of trousers make you feel uncomfortable, don't wear those trousers. But in the same respect, if you
exactly.
feel super awkward in something low cut, don't wear it. Just wear whatever it is that makes you feel happy, whether that's showing skin, not showing skin, wearing color, not wearing color. It's about just finding those pieces that you love and that make you feel comfortable.
Exactly. Like, you've got to feel comfortable, and you've got to feel, and it shows. And then you can take the pictures however you like to, because you're happy with what you're doing. It's when you're at a crossroads between the two. It's like, but why? So, there should be more solutions out in the market. One of my bugbears is seeing all these cool, trendy things in the shops, and they've styled it a certain way.
Yeah.
And I always think, oh, why couldn't you give options? Style it. Here's the way that you could style it, and here's somebody that style it for somebody who wants a bit more coverage. And then you're being a bit more inclusive. You're giving, people like my daughter who doesn't really know how to wear something, and it's like, no, you can wear it like that, and you will look correct, because they think they look wrong if they wear it any other way. So I just wish sometimes that shops and brands and stuff would style outfits in maybe a couple of ways. Maybe I'm asking too much, but just to show that they're being really inclusive for people that prefer coverage or don't prefer coverage. Like there's no wrong or right way, but you're being more inclusive of your customers.
Exactly. I think everybody learning to style things in their own way is really important, and just playing around with your wardrobe. It's not about wrong and right answers. There are no such thing when it comes to fashion. It's all subjective. What's
Yeah,
wrong to somebody else is perfectly right to me. So we've just got to get used to that.
that's
Now,
right. Yeah.
are you somebody who likes to spend quite a lot of money on your wardrobe? What is the most expensive thing? You don't
Yeah.
have to tell me
So
how much it is.
actually, when it comes to clothes, I don't like or I don't feel comfortable wearing designer labels. I love them, don't get me wrong. I love the quality, I love the cuts. I have a couple of my favorite designers, but I don't tend to buy clothes that are designer. I do probably like most women, if I'm going to spend my money, I'm going to spend it on bags and shoes. And some jewelry, accessories. Because, and I don't know whether it's because somebody like me who prefers to dress modestly, accessories are a big part for us. It's how we dress something up. If with coverage, because we don't want to show skin, our jewelry, our shoes, our bags are really important for us. And culturally, I like bling, so I like anything sparkly too, and I tend to go for sparkly. If I see sparkly shoe, oh my god, I've like just drifted onto heaven, and then I can't get it out of my head, and then it's just bugging, and it's like I will be like, like a little girl Cinderella kind of persona comes in. So yeah, I'd spend my money on accessories just because I know I'll get more use out of them. I can pair them with lots of different outfits. So that's where I would spend more on.
What's the newest piece in your wardrobe?
The newest piece, apart from my swimsuit, I think it has to be this pink dress. I haven't worn it yet. I'm going to have to stand up for this one. Right, can you see it?
Ooh, she's so pretty.
Right, so it's got high neck, it's got bubble sleeves, and it's got this ruffle on the skirt. It comes, I wish it could be a little bit longer, but it's about calf length. But I can work with it, but I wish it was a little bit longer. And the reason why I bought this one is, and I can't say this designer's name, is it Schiaparelli?
Schiaparelli.
That's it. Did you see their Paris Fashion Week couture?
I die. Honestly, they are one of my favourite shows of the season every time,
Right.
because you never quite know what you're going to get. It's brilliant.
It was brilliant. And I don't know, what kind of era is that? Is it 50s or something? Or those dresses that are coming
Yeah, I
out with
think
the hips and stuff?
yes, with the big, and loved.
Right. So I, just like you and probably half the other world's population, looking at this show like, and I thought I would love to wear something like that, right? But obviously, most of it was low neck, and it was like, so that would be a no for me. So when I saw this dress, and this dress was it from Sister Jane,
Which is my favourite brand, I have to say.
right?
I'm such a Sister
And
Jane fan.
and I actually saw another one. It was sold out within minutes, and then I was looking around for it. So I saw this one, and I thought, this is got the vibes of Schiaparelli, right? It's got the ruffles. It's got that olden sort of day of the big hips sort of going out. It's modest enough for me to wear. It's got some sleeves. Like I said, it could be a bit longer, but I could work with it. So this is the way of sort of my nod to that designer and that kind of fashion. And that's what I do. I sort of look at a designer and I'm like, I wish I could wear that. And then I'm looking for pieces that would fit my coverage level so I can also rock that trend and things like that. So yeah, I haven't worn that. I'm saving that for summer. It's a nice summer day.
Oh, she's a perfect summer dream dress. What's the most sentimental piece in your wardrobe?
I think, again, it'd have to be my wedding shoes, I think, because obviously there's a story behind it. It was my first designer item. It's something that I paid for all by myself. They were £350. I remember going into Leeds. We went because I went from Sheffield to Leeds for shopping, and I was looking for some wedding shoes, and I saw them, and I thought, and it was my first, I think, splurge, apart from the Nokia 8850 phone with the blue lights that that I spent my student loan on at uni. So I think that was my first splurge. And honestly, on the day, and you couldn't even see my shoes because, come on, my wedding dress and my skirt, which you call the lehenga, covered the shoes completely. But I knew I was wearing them, and that made me feel so special.
You see, that's what's important. It's about you knowing that you're wearing them. It's not about
Yeah,
whether anybody else can see them or not. It's about the feeling they give to you, which is brilliant.
yeah, yeah.
What is the piece in your wardrobe you would say most sums you up?
So I have this big pink tulle skirt, right? I've had it for at least 5 years. I've worn it. I try and take turns on different holidays so you don't always see the same holiday picture in the same skirt. But I literally, this pink big tulle skirt is like every girl, so feminine, super pretty, asking to be twirled around in it, princess modes completely. So that is it's really playful. So I think for me, a big skirt always. And then when I want to feel a bit more demure or a bit maybe sexy if I'm going out for a night out, I like to wear black. I love lace. A lot of it's too transparent. So I think I would wear my Lemise lace dress from my own brand. I've worn it quite a lot of times. I've actually worn it with a blazer as well for some work meetings. But that just gives you like a hint of lace across the shoulder and on one arm. And that's for like going on dinner dates. I think that's my two extremes: playful, pretty, and feminine, which I love. And then like a bit more serious and demure.
Love that. Now, do you ever have a wardrobe malfunction or a fashion faux pas? And would you like to share a story?
Oh my God. This is like so embarrassing. But I had these boots, the Rachel Zoe. I don't know whether you
Yes, I
remember
know the brand. Yeah.
the platform boots that they're in. And I actually don't like platforms. I don't even know why I bought them. I don't, maybe it was a gold sort of button with the over sort of turned up at the top. It had a big platform, super high heel. And I've probably worn these shoes probably 3 times. Every time I've worn them, I've tripped. A couple of times I've fallen, it's just been embarrassing. And every time after that, I never wore them again. And these shoes are just jinxed, or like, I mean, I love heels. I'd like to think I'm a person that can walk in heels, but I've fallen on my face in these heels in like a high-end restaurant. It's just been embarrassing. I hate those boots with a passion. I can't even get rid of them.
You see, I think there are certain pairs of shoes that are just shoes of death. So I remember, proper throwback, early 2010s, and I had a pair of gold and black platform sandals, and a friend of mine had the same pair of sandals, right? And I remember taking mine on holiday. I was in Mexico with a friend. We were staying at this beautiful resort, and we were walking down this like flight of stairs into this restaurant. And from the top step, I just lost it and stacked it all the way down these stairs in this dress with these stupid heels on. Livid, right? Just so embarrassed. And then I remember coming back and telling my friend who had the same shoes. She was like, honestly, she went, I've never been out in those shoes and not fallen over. She was like, every time she wore them, she would fall over. And I was like, I'm never wearing mine again. I'm getting rid of them.
No, I know. And mine, nobody wants them. I tried putting them on Vinted. Nobody wants them. Maybe people know,
The reputation has preceded
yeah,
them. The
and they weren't
doom.
cheap.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about this pair. I don't know if it was just the way the sole was or the heel or what it was. There was something wrong about them, because I had loads of other pairs with platforms in that I was absolutely fine in. But
Right.
they were out to kill us all. That's what it was.
No, I know, but it's so embarrassing because you feel like, they're the type of shoes everybody looks at and then you fall flat on your face.
Yes.
It's like,
Like, great. Thank you. You're like, I look great. I look great. No, I'm down. Good.
yes, that is it. So that's my most embarrassing or fashion faux pas memory. Thank God. I hope those boots never come back in fashion.
Yeah, same. Keep them back where they belong in the early 2010s. What are your actual favourite shoes, though? Definitely not those boots.
No. So I told you, like anything sparkly. So one of my favorite designers, apart from Jimmy Choo, because Jimmy Choo's quite comfy, I feel like, for shoes, but is Rena Sevilla.
Oh, love.
Gorgeous. And I even have like those ones that go up the leg. But I know I only have 2 hands. But I have worn these so much. Like they actually are comfortable. They give sparkly vibes. It's like a sparkly sock on your foot. So these are my absolute favourite. So Renner Sevilla with those gone sparkly soles. But yeah, these kind of shoes are my absolute favourite.
Oh, I love those.
Thank you.
The the wraparound snake ones were the first pair of designer heels that I ever bought. And I bought them, I'd gone to Paris with a boyfriend at the time, and I bought them on the Champs-Elysees, and it was the first mad big purchase that I'd ever made. And oh my God, they were so beautiful, but so uncomfortable.
They are, and that's why I chose these ones, because
Those ones look great in comparison.
these ones are more comfortable, because I've got them as well, and they're great because, come on, like all the celebs and everyone's fashionable's wearing those snake ones. I've got some as well, and they do look great, but they're not as comfy as this style. This style is more comfy than those, yeah.
Yeah, but they're beautiful. Now, what is the dream fashion item that you would love to have? You can have it irrespective of cost or practicality. You can have anything in the world. What would you have?
Do because I'm an accessories person. I love accessories. I'd like to say, something like the Himalayan Birkin or whatever, but I couldn't agree, in how it's made and what it's made of. So I think it's just a piece that it's nice as a distance, kind of thing. But, come on, if you saw somebody walk down with that or somebody like, I would be like, what bag she's got. Oh my God, look at that bag.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I do think there are pieces like that where I'm like, I like to admire you from afar, but I don't know that I want to own you.
No, yeah.
Yeah. To finish on, is there a piece of fashion advice you would have given to your younger self?
I think is just not to be ashamed with your fashion style. So like growing up, so I hardly wore any traditional clothes. Like for me, I only wore traditional clothes when I go to weddings, and I actually love shopping for traditional wedding clothes. I actually think I've sent you a photo of probably the most expensive item I've got in my wardrobe, apart from my shoes, fashion wise, would be the traditional, it's a traditional Asian suit that I wore to a couple of my siblings' weddings. It was, I'd say, around £1,200, full of sequins, embellishments, big skirts, nice sheer, what we say dupatta, which is all in the fashion things at the moment, but it's sheer scarf, full of intrinsic detail. And you just get princess vibes, okay? So that would be my most expensive thing. But the reason why I've said that is that's the only time I would wear traditional clothes. The rest of the time, I would always be wearing clothes that I'm finding in the shops, just like everyone else. Growing up, it wasn't easy trying to get those clothes. And like I said, to make it with a bit more coverage for people. So I would remember wearing the long denim skirts. I know they were in, sort of last year, and then, but they were in when I was younger, right? And they used to have big splits, and I used to pair them like with leggings or tights, and nobody else was pairing them with leggings and tights. And I'll be honest, I didn't really like wearing them with leggings and tights because I felt like ashamed of why I'm having to cover my legs up, and when no one else is having to cover their legs up, probably like how my daughter's feeling now. But if I could go back, I would be like, don't be ashamed of having to style something just to make it work for you. That would be my advice. Wear it with pride, own it. In fact, I just did a Modest solution wear collection in Ramadan, which was literally on the back of this. It was all those items, vests and long sort of opaque slip dresses, and even a pair of leggings that we've got coming to wear under items. So you can rock the same things as everyone else to give you more coverage. And if those leggings show, so what? If that vest shows, so what? And I think that's what I would be telling people. Don't be ashamed of having to style things a different way just so it can meet your needs. Yeah.
That's excellent advice. I love that. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. This has been really fun.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed that chat. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, follow, leave a rating. Actually, I'd really like comments this week on your opinion on this episode. Are you somebody who is covering up a little bit more? Do you like to show a little bit more skin? I'd love to know the vibes. Let me know in the comments below.